Renee Hillman, and I'm with RE/MAX One Realty here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm excited to have the opportunity to work with house hunters. Even more excited, I had great clients to work with. Pete and Adrian were wonderful. They came to me in May, shortly after getting married, moving from Arizona to here, and they're living with their mom currently. So they definitely were on a shortened timeline to get into their first home. Originally, we're intending to go with the USDA loan, which is 100% financing. So that kind of put us more out in the rural areas. You know, what we figured out is, you know what, this isn't working for us. It's too long of a commute. They really wanted to be within 20 minutes of Raleigh because that's where they're both working. So we changed the loan program up, said, okay, let's go FHA route, figure out what our options are. And they absolutely fell in love with the Cary area. So we really spent a lot of time concentrating on that. You know, of course, we lost a couple homes in the process because they weren't ready to pull the trigger. Because our market has been moving so quick under that $200,000 range. So once we established that, hey, Cary was where we were going to concentrate, the perfect home came up. And it just kind of started from there. We were really trying to work with this other home that was like the 1970s shag carpet kind of thing. They're not the handiest people, so you know, we had contractors in there, but it was getting a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So we kind of took a step back, and it just so happened that this one home came up on the market on a Friday night. Within 12 hours, we were already in that home. They had 6 additional showings in about a 2-hour time period, and we already had an offer submitted. So we moved very, very quick through the process once we identified that home because our market has been moving so quick. We literally came right back to the office after we saw that home, put it on paper, sent it over through DocuSign, and we got it negotiated, I think, in probably like 2.5, 3 hours. So they were ecstatic. We had it under contract. You know, they came to me with a pretty long list of needs. One being that they really, really wanted a yard. They wanted a garage. They wanted a house that they could grow into. They wanted, of course, everything under the sun, like most buyers. They wanted granite countertops. They wanted an updated kitchen. They wanted updated baths. They wanted hardwood floors. And we really had to kind of narrow that down a little bit and say, okay, what's really important? And ultimately, that came down to location, and they really had to give a little bit. The home that they ended up purchasing is the cutest ranch. Is in a great area in Cary. It's an older established subdivision in Iron Gate, which is a great location for them. They can hit the highway in less than a mile and be to work probably in about 15 minutes or so. One thing that I love doing when I'm showing homes is pointing out those special features that I think a lot of people overlook just because, one, they don't know to look for them, or two, they're just too busy looking at floor plan or whatever. So when I go into a home, I do try to really pay a lot of attention to those special features. One thing I noticed in this house immediately is that it does have those 3-inch wide plank site finished floors that really show off the luster, the grain, and they're just, you can tell they're higher end. Another thing that I noticed too is the fact that these outlets are actually set in the baseboard, which is a really nice custom feature. It gives it a more kind of prestigious finished look than just sticking them in the wall up here. One of the other things I love about this living room is the gas log fireplace. And even better, all you have to do is flick on the light switch and you have immediate mood and flames. So you can entertain in the other room and have a nice warm glow coming from this room very easily. It's also set off very nicely with the granite surround. And of course, as you can tell, tons of molding. I mean, it's super beefy, it's all over. It's a great compliment to this room. Builder was really smart. As we all know, we like to hide our TVs, our electronics. So they built this nice cabinet here, and these of course slide back in like this. So very easy to use, you don't have to worry about it. The sellers also spend a fair amount of money on these custom blinds. They're about $70 a window, and I think that again is important for a buyer to know, because if they go into a home that doesn't have any windows treatments on them, it's going to cost quite a bit of money to furnish that whole house. The other thing too that the sellers spent money on retrofitting after the fact was this surround sound wiring. It wasn't in originally, but they had to come back and put it in, and you know, that again can cost a lot of money. I think it's very important for buyers to understand all these little items really do add up. So even though it might be the perfect home for someone, even like Pete and Adrian, they need to understand all those little things that go along with home buying. Look forward to being on House Hunters and talk to you soon.